we previously talked about staying safe while on the road, and especially around some campground crime and things like that. Well, what about your rig? What about getting that stolen, like break-ins and things like that? Well, I'm gonna go over a little bit about how we try to stay safe with our rig, and then if the worst does happen, ways that you might be able to get it back. So we'll start out with generally what we have on board. We actually have 2 hidden GPS trackers, one from the manufacturer. Thor tends to build a lot on the Class Cs, they tend to build on the Ford platform, and almost all of those are coming with some kind of GPS tracker on them. I think it's called their Blue Link service. Every manufacturer probably has their own these days. So the manufacturer themselves can actually help track it. We also have had things like, what was the pet?
It's called the Waggle.
Yeah, I know there are some monitors and other kinds. We don't have one that we typically prefer in terms of that, but that you can also put a GPS lock on. Even my internet setup has a lock on it, so I can basically notify when it goes outside of a certain range. Yeah, you can use air tags, although those aren't like an active GPS ping. Lots of different ways that you can actually kind of prevent that. You can also do security systems. There are things like SimpliSafe, and I know some of the electronic RV lock systems can also kind of help keep you safe. In general, we just make sure the rig is locked, that everything is locked up. Our compartments, except for like the sewer and the gas, stay locked up generally. So yeah, just try to keep things locked up, and in my view, having a GPS tracker is probably some of the safest insurance you can have. So how hard is it to steal a motorhome or a trailer or something like that? I would say it's probably easier to steal a trailer. Most of the hitch locks I have seen in my life are absolute junk. I have not seen one that I couldn't defeat with a crowbar or a hammer in about 5 seconds. They're just made out of cheap materials, cheap lock cores, just absolute crap. They might stop somebody from incidentally just pulling up and grabbing your trailer, but I have yet to find one that I'm actually happy with. If I ever get a fifth wheel or a trailer, I'll probably make my own, to be perfectly honest, just because they're absolute junk. And that is the problem with trailers and fifth wheels, is you can, in general, pull up to them and be gone. You can usually lock in, because if you don't care about the safety and the chains and all that kind of stuff, you just want to steal it, you hook up and you're gone. That's not to say that motorhomes are that much better. So I could steal a motorhome the same way I could steal pretty much any car. In general, there are things like theft deterrent systems and the RFID key locks and stuff like that. So, you have programmable keys and all that kind of stuff these days. But those are not foolproof. They're finding new vulnerabilities every day. It's pretty easy to break into cars. I know people don't like to hear that, but even modern cars are not that hard to steal. And so like ours is a Ford platform. Probably harder to steal than a trailer, but if I was determined that I was going to take that motorhome, I could probably get it. Either hot wire, you can pick cylinders, you can, shim into doors. There's just all ways to, you could break a window and just break open the lock cylinder and turn it on, and depending on what the lock system was, you might just be gone. So let's talk about insurance just a little bit, because I have a little bit of experience in property and casualty insurance. And work with your agent. Do not lie to your agent to get cheaper rates. Make sure they know what you're doing. Like if you're living in your RV full time, do not lie to your agent, because you will invalidate your insurance. Congratulations. So it's usually a rider. It's usually just a checkbox. Like I know Progressive, for instance, has a full-time RV insurance, and lots of other ones that do. But if you are full-timing in your RV, make sure that that's what you have. For RVs, there are full-time and part-time insurance types, and you want to make sure that you have the correct type for your usage. Otherwise, if you do suffer a loss, either in damage or in theft, it is possible they could deny your claim because you were using your RV in an inappropriate manner. You're basically using it in a way that invalidates the underwriting, essentially, and they can say, nope, sorry, we're washing our hands of you. In addition, if you're using your RV for a business, if you have your social media plastered on it, if you have signage on it, if you're doing things like that, like we tend to have, because we are doing YouTube videos and things like that, we have a good number of electronics. Look at the limits of your policy. So we do have a full-timers policy, but the electronics limit on it is only $2,000. Well, that's not even going to cover my rendering laptop. That's like, right? That's not going to cover enough. So we actually went on purchase specific insurance for our business assets for the electronics that are in the rig. So make sure that if you have things that you want to make sure are covered, just ask your agent. I actually went back and forth with an insurance agent for, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just talking about the different potentials, the different riders I could add, the different things that were covered or weren't covered. While you may not suffer a loss, and it is actually fairly rare, we have not needed to use our insurance. You don't want to be, after a tornado or something and having a total loss of your RV, you don't want to be worried that it's not going to be covered. that you're not gonna be able to get your things back. Or God forbid somebody takes your RV, trashes it, catches it on fire, you wanna make sure that you're actually covered. At least financially you can be made whole in some way, shape, or form. So if your RV is stolen, hopefully it is not. First step, call the police. Unfortunately, that's what it's going to be. If you do have GPS tracking on it, like I said, I do highly suggest, have that location. If you are one of the people that have like a Ring camera or something, make sure you have that footage somehow. So as you make a report, they might be able to run and get it right then. There's an argument for like cloud footage from like Ring or other kinds of cameras is that can get uploaded. Maybe you can grab a picture of somebody as that gets put up. Now I will say in my investigations of property crimes on like some of the nonprofits and stuff, that cameras are shite. If you are relying on a camera for your safety, even with high-res technology these days, I don't find that they're useful, except to confirm after the fact that you have the right person. They're good for court because it's, got confirmation there, but in general, I've never found them to be able to lead to the person that took it. That's why I recommend having multiple GPS trackers, because when somebody finds one, they're going to be lulled into a better sense of security, like, yes, I got away with it. There's actually a sense of rush. That's one of the reasons I think people steal these things, is that they think they got away with it. So if you have 2 or 3, especially if 1 or 2 of them are hidden, it's more likely that you're going to be able to find it. So yeah, have any of you unfortunately had your RV or trailer stolen? Do you have any other tips for dealing with insurance, or there are other ways that you try to keep your rig safe while traveling around? Let us know down in the comments. Maybe we'll make another video after that with those. But otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again next week.